All right, Mike, I've got another topic I'd like to explore with you. This one has to do with the kind of actions, really concrete steps that can be done to increase organizational intelligence, its capacity to innovate, to adapt to change, and to build that. So we'll frame it the question this way. Let's imagine that you've been made the CEO of a fair-sized company, and you, in your first 100 days, what would you do in your first 100 days to build the organization's intelligence in a way that would be irreversible? The steps you would take, the concrete things you would have them stop doing and start doing, etc. So you have the control now of this organization, and what would you do to build intelligence in your first 100 days?
I first would mark something in this conversation, which is I would do work before my first 100 days, meaning I won't take the job unless I can talk to some people and discover things that I think will be leverage points or people that are leverage points, like that. But I wouldn't take the job if I couldn't do that first, because I don't want to include it my first 100 days. I want to get to work. So the start would be I'd start as this is an organization transformation project. Just because it's me, but I'm the CEO. Will change as change result? Not necessarily. Will things change? Absolutely. So I'd start with the most important thing, which is the vision or the purpose, or however the organization I inherited likes to call it. And I probably won't change its name unless it was so pathetic. Let's take it up a notch or two. But is this going to grab people? And equally important, will people not only be able to understand it, but be able to communicate it themselves? And if it doesn't fit those three, then it needs to change. And then I'd gather a small top group and design some alternatives. And then I'd gather a mixed group through all the levels, departments, etc., and have them wrestle with it. I wouldn't do it by survey. I'd do it by these dialogues that I would trust would come close enough. So I would do that until I had a satisfactory vision statement. And I'm willing to bet I'll never find a company that would satisfy me walking in. Might be a couple.
Hold on a second, Mike. You made a jump, at least in my hearing, between a purpose and a vision statement. Are they the same in your vocabulary?
I don't care because they're already operating under whatever they've got.
Okay.
So I only want to know it's inspiring, it's understood, and it's and they can communicate it.
Got it.
And I'm happy. That's where we'll start. We may later decide some other thing.
Got it.
Now we've got something because I walk into an organization and it's about aligning conversations to a point. That's what organization is. So how are we going to get there if we don't have this point? Is it too small? Okay, we'll settle for now. That's why I say it won't change. Won't necessarily look like change, but it will change. Because we're now going to be serious about it. And from then on, so say that takes 10, 15 days at most. I'll say 10. Then from then on, that newly stated vision, purpose, whatever, is going to be in my conversation every meeting I have with everybody. So it's going to get real, and they're going to get, it matters. It's not the slogan on the wall. So that's probably the first 10 days. And I will have now created relationships with a significant number of people. And I would want to include particularly two, let's call them groups of people in that at some part of the process. One of the groups of people I'd want to be heavily there is the people who are really committed and sort of thinkers about stuff, not just doing it. And the other group would be the ones, with some of the ones considered to be troublemakers. So I don't want pablum here. I want real, let's get down to stuff. So, and then Then I'd have meetings across levels of the company, again, the next level or two down in a hierarchy, that would talk about this and its implications to them and their operations. And if there are no implications, we haven't made it. But by this time, I think it would be, well, you better look again. There's implications here. And we'll meet again. And let them know that this will be a topic of their conversations, not only with me, but with their people regularly. And I'll monitor that for the next 10 or 20 days, probably. Because now we've got a chance of aligning all the action in the place, without which we're going to get an awful lot of malfunction.
So we're about a month in now.
Yeah, about a month in. And then I'd ask for all of those managers to create a project that would make, let's say, create an innovation or something new. These managers need to create a project that they and a team they put together, if they can and want to, but they're now heading a project that is innovative, meaning challenging things. Then I'd go right down to the floor, whatever you call the bottom of the organization, like the people with their hands on the materials, people that are buying outside, looking at things, people dealing directly with customers. And I'd skip everything in between. I wouldn't have that sorted and prioritized or whatever for me. I'd get direct reports in groups of, depending on the size of the company, probably 10 would be really small, probably 20 to 100 or two can be in a room, and something will get generated from that. And out of which I am going to create projects for somewhere, let's call it in the middle of the organization, that people who engaged in this will see it happening and know it's related to this vision and to what we're doing here. And in those, I will say to every employee I'll ask every employee in the company that I meet, what do you think you're getting paid for? And I know they won't give me the answer that I want. And I'll tell them, what you're getting paid for is the future you're creating. That's it, because we won't exist if you don't create a future. So I want everybody to have that, and they'll hear it many times. So that's now at the top and at the bottom, and it'll filter through. And then I'd invite everyone in the company to take on a project, small as it might be, and report at least once a month, probably weekly, to somebody who's either a superior to them or a team member with them on how's it going. So they're now involved in the action. And I'd put in a couple of new practices, which will take some time, but I think now, after maybe 2 months in at most, it's time to make some stuff noticed. And one is, an employee can skip all levels above them, all levels, if they choose to. Now,
What do you mean by skip?
Not even, they see something in a customer, or they see something in the culture that's that they see around them that's actually negative towards customers. It doesn't need to go up through a chain of 6 people and back down, or not back down. They can go to the top. And if they go to the top with something trivial, they not kind of go straight to the top. They need to say to whoever their manager is, I want to go to the top with this. And the manager will either then deal with it like it's serious, or let them move up. And every time a manager lets somebody move up without resolving it, the manager's in trouble. Unless it really was that big, but it's hardly ever going to be the case. I worked for IBM, and what's his name, Watson. He did this. They would fly me to New York to meet with Watson if I demanded it. And I believed it. Everybody believed it there. I don't know anybody that did it, but they believed it. But there were some managers who let something get too far up the chain without an action without something, or maybe they should have gone up the chain, who got seriously reprimanded and one got fired. So it looked pretty serious.
So the gate is that the manager either resolves what the issue that the person has raised or sends it on up.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And the up is as far up as the rule you would implement is that the employee gets to say, whether it's their manager's manager or whether it's the CEO or wherever, they get to say where they want to take the issue.
Not quite. It would go, that was published to all employees. So I knew I could take it and end up flying to New York. There was a question. I might have been able, it was too serious and I don't want to talk to my manager or can't, and I want to go to New York. And I at least believed there was a possibility it could happen that directly. But there wasn't that many layers to go through either. It would be my manager, the district manager, the country manager, and Watson. I mean, like that. So it wasn't.
So at every level, you either get your issue resolved or they bump it up higher.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
There's the policy that you'd institute then to increase intelligence, there'd be no squelching issues.
Yeah.
That's one way of saying it.
Yeah.
Either get resolved or it goes until somebody can resolve it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it also is, in the intelligence, just think of it as the organizational intelligence. It's moving through the organization while this is happening. And people are learning things from it. Me being the one who's initiating it, somebody being, I haven't thought about this. Maybe I should think about something. You know, that all increases communication, which increases intelligence. And then I would put in here, again, this would be in the last third for sure. Maybe not till the last day, but I do it by then. And that is what I call a declaration of distributing power. Meaning, everybody needs to know this declaration is coming down to them and taking power away from those above them. That's happened, and that's my declaration, and you're going to see evidence of it from then on in my CEO-ship.
What would that mean in practical terms, distributing power?
It means I can make, if I'm on the floor, if I see a customer that's unhappy, I can make a decision that's beyond, cost money, cost time. My friends down the road in Seattle, forgotten them for the moment. I visited them and spent some time. The retailer, clothing, etc. retailer. Damn, everybody knows their name around here. Anyway, they have a policy. Customer complains. If customer wants a refund, you give them a refund. And the story they tell is somebody came in with a tire, which this company doesn't sell tires, and they gave them a refund on the tire. It was like, the employee decided that. Okay, here, because you'll go back there and you'll tell people. So, and most organizations, the employee would not be empowered to do that. So that bit of power is going to land in your lap.
So there'd be specific authorities, decision-making authorities that would be pushed as far down as you could.
Well, it'd be a combination. Yes, there would have to be, and have to make clear that it was coming from the top of the organization, but also a general budgetary kind of thing where, well, you'll have to bump it up, but otherwise you make the choice, and that's no longer in this conversation. How come you gave all those refunds? You just get to do it. Now, if you give everybody everything free, it'll show up somewhere higher up and get dealt with. But we don't trust people. And with that, forget the whole rest of it.
Got it. So we're getting near the end of your 100 days. Anything else you'd want to be sure to put in?
I'd actually put in two things actually, displays on the walls that are there to inform whoever wants to look, and I would look. So they'd see that I was going around looking at what they put on the walls. That's one. And the other one is, it's actually from Christopher Alexander, who was an architect, from his work, which is social communicative places like spaces in your workplace. And depending on what it looked like, maybe do some renos and make it look better too. But for sure, this is an inviting place. People gather, have coffee casually, stop and talk in a hallway around. There's places where casual human conversation can take place. And if it's there, it will. And that will make that'll have a huge impact on everything as well.
All
That'll
right.
100 days.
Thank you, Mike. I hope you enjoyed being CEO for 10 minutes.
Well, when you asked the question, I thought, well, anywhere. What if I'm the new manager of a small department? It's going to be faster, but I'm going to do the same things, basically.
Very nice. Very nice.